Am I the asshole for telling my mom her dream for my wedding stopped being possible the day my dad died? My dad died when I was 7 years old. He was my favorite person, my mom's favorite person, at the time, and I kind of think he was the person who could complement our personalities enough for us to be super close. Even as a little kid I kind of knew that. It broke the two of us when he died. But then she found someone else, she found Luke. She married Luke when I was 9 and he became her person. Luke, upon realizing my dad had been the parent I was closest to, tried to fill that space, and was unwilling to listen when I said that space was reserved for my dad. It caused some tension. Over time I let some things go. They would call themselves my parents or my mom and dad. I always called him Luke. I always told people close to me about my dad and would make sure it was known Luke was not dad. Our relationship now that I am several years out of their house is amicable but not close. I don't hate them, but my mom and I still don't mesh well, and Luke still wants to fill that role my dad had and I still don't want him to. Ever since I got engaged my mom has been more present. She has told me how she always dreamed of this day, etc. Over time she brought up how she and Luke couldn't wait to see him walk me down the aisle and give me my father-daughter dance, and how they were excited to be mom and dad of the bride. I told her none of that was happening. She told me it was always her dream though. That from the time she found out she was expecting a girl she couldn't wait to watch me on my dad's arm and in his arms for a dance. I told her that was possible when dad was alive, but not when he was gone. She told me it was still possible. There was still my dad, Luke, and that he deserved it, they both did. I told her I was walking with my fiancé and no father-daughter dance would happen. I told her he was not going to be listed as father of the bride anywhere, because he is not my father. I ended up telling her to leave and I went back to less contact. Then my mom showed up unannounced and started to tell me all about this dream again and what it meant to her, and I told her clearly, without hesitation, that her dream stopped being possible when my dad died because he was not here to do that stuff, and that Luke was never going to be filling my dad's role for me. I told her she might be able to switch them out easily, but I was not. She left in tears, telling me I had punished her for moving on and punished my dad for not being Cal, my dad. That she and my dad deserved better than that, and I was spiteful. Am I the asshole? Edited to add more additional details. Luke. He cut up cards I had made, given my dad for Father's Day, that my dad had kept safe before he died, and cut up the back and left the front and then turned them into a collage and acted like they were cards I had given him. When my mom and him brought out my birth certificate for something, he told me he couldn't wait to see his name on it instead of the old husband. He told me my dad had done nothing special and that he could do what my dad had done for me and my mom, but better. Mom. My mom just erased my dad from and added Luke to. Then expected me to do the same. She even went as far as taking photo frames that had stuff like, our family, or, dad and daughter, and replacing them with photos that included Luke instead of my dad. She also told me more than once that Luke was our new favorite person, or would say, Dad's our favorite person like always, and it was always in reference to Luke. Not the asshole you don't consider Luke as your father. Period. Your mom and Luke should accept it once and for all, and your mom should also cease her emotional blackmailing. ETA. Many thanks for the award. This. Not the asshole to infinity. Maybe if Luke hadn't tried to replace your dad, he'd be in a much better standing with you. Even if it was so, it is all down to your decision. Be ready for the flying monkeys to come at you about how you're being unreasonable, etc., etc. I'd be ready, block the lot. Yeah, maybe if he hadn't stomped on the feelings of a grieving 9-year-old, I'd have more respect for him. Yeesh. Those edits make my heart hurt. I would reconsider inviting him, and the mother, as well. Not the asshole you said it as nicely as you could and she kept pressing the issue. You were not unnecessarily cruel about it, you were just firm. Her and Luke trying to force the issue of him being your new dad from the start was not a healthy approach and was never going to give them the results that they wanted. It's your wedding and they need to respect your boundaries. This right here. And original poster's edits made me sad. Luke actively denigrating her dad and mom, basically erasing him from her life. No wonder original poster's insistent that mom and dad will not be playing major roles at her wedding. They've really hurt her in the past and continue to do so. Not the asshole. Original poster's edits are absolutely heartbreaking. Her mom and Luke not only didn't do anything to ease into bringing Luke into her home, they actively tried to erase her father from her world. I'm honestly surprised that original poster allows them any access to her life. I would have gone NC as soon as I was 18 based on Luke's heinous actions and mom's support of Luke's behavior. Her mother's behavior is honestly bizarre. It's like she couldn't stand or process the loss of her husband and just tried to fill the void with another person and pretend the loss never happened. Original poster's refusal to go along with her mother's nonsense keeps stamping all over her delusions, and so it seems like she pushes harder. Meanwhile, Luke seems to know he's the substitute husband and is trying to force his way into original poster's life so he can finally feel like the family is his. The fact he cut up those cards to pretend they were for him is just horrific, and he clearly wants to pretend he has always been there and original poster's dad never existed. I'd cut off all contact. Those two will not stop, and I wouldn't be shocked if he gave a really awkward, awful speech where he tries to play father of the bride, or her mother will do that. Uninvite them, have security at the wedding to keep them out and let them live in their delusion together. Not the asshole. Side note. Am I the only person who finds 2 years from the dating to engagement to marriage phases to be fast? Especially when there's children involved. It was for me, but I know everyone moves on in their own time. Most, I would hope, except it doesn't always work the same for everyone and accept the kids' feelings. My mom was not that person. She made her choice and you get to make yours. My dad when I was 10, and while my mom dated, in secret, we didn't meet them until they were very serious, she never remarried. She walked me down the aisle and danced the parents' dance with me. She deserved it and I wanted it. You get to decide whatever you want for your wedding. I was at a lovely wedding once. The bride walked herself down the aisle carrying a photo of her late father. It really was beautiful. One of my childhood friends lost her dad when he was still a very young man. She had a photo of her and him in a locket and wore that on her wedding day. Her mother walked her down the aisle. Not the asshole. Her entitlement is insane. She keeps talking about her dream for your wedding, acting as if her dream is all that matters. Not your feelings or what you want for your own wedding. It goes beyond simple entitlement. Holy shit, that edit. NTA. Why do parents think just because it's their dream that it has to be yours? Your mother is so out of line. This is your wedding, etc. You can do and plan however you wish it, and if they don't attend because of her dream, then that's on them. Your dad will be there either way in spirit, and I wish you a beautiful wedding surrounded by all those that love you. I think with my mom, it might be some kind of unhealthy coping mechanism. The way she chose to ignore what happened. Instead of finding a way to live with the truth, she tried to erase it. That's very unfortunate, as it means she has buried the trauma and never dealt with the past. Must have been and still is hard to deal with that and never talking about it growing up, I take it? Oh yeah, we didn't talk about it. Talking about it was heavily frowned upon and described as living in the past. Not the asshole. I am so sorry, original poster. You said what I thought. They tried to erase your dad, but it didn't work because your memories of your dad are with you always. This is just a suggestion. My youngest sister walked by herself in her wedding. She had 2 circular pictures in the ribbons of her wedding bouquet. One of our deceased dad, one of her deceased Phil. Bill teared up when he saw the pictures when standing next to her. That is such a beautiful idea. My fiancé lost his brother. Maybe we could walk together holding a photo of my dad and his brother. That is a beautiful idea for you and your fiancé. Enjoy your wedding day. Not the asshole. I don't get step-parents that try to do this. You can't erase a parent's existence or impact just cause they died. It's sick, especially the collage of cards. What a fuck. Nothing wrong with being a step-parent, but crazy to try and act like the bio-parent. I think the sick part is, instead of trying to be a guy who could earn some kind of nice card for something, he just stole what he knew he would never get, because he wanted it. Luke and your mom are entirely selfish, and 100% in the wrong. They handled everything badly. The fact that he destroyed the cards from your dad is despicable and unforgivable. He's a narcissist who expects to step in and be treated like a king, or a savior for simply existing. Examples like, "This family was nothing until I came along, life is for the living and I'm here now, if it weren't for me, your mom would be miserable, I'm the only dad you need now, I'm the boss, so what I say goes," general vibes from dudes like him. If I were your mother, Luke would have been gone the moment he destroyed the cards. Unfortunately, she became a cuckoo bird widow, pushing out the memory of her first husband in favor for the second, and didn't consider the egg left in the nest that was hit hard by the backlash of her actions. Not the asshole. And I am so sorry for how they've treated you all of these years. Luke is not a father. That title needs to be earned. I agree with you, and it's so sad that her mom didn't really let her mourn her dad's death. I have a friend whose mom died when she was young. Her dad remarried shortly after and she removed all of the pictures of her from the house and told the kids never to speak of her again. It made home not a safe place. For someone to deliberately destroy something as special as homemade cards is just sick. To try to insert himself in everything is so sad. He only cares about how he feels, and it sounds like her mom is the same way. Not the asshole. If you never accepted your stepfather as your dad, then there is no way for her dream to happen. Besides, it's your wedding, not hers. Imagine someone else being so consumed with a dream that has almost nothing to do with them. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You love your dad. Your mom loves Luke. Luke is the asshole for destroying the cards you made for your dad. Enjoy your wedding your way original poster. This should be like as high as possible. Luke is S major asshat for destroying memories of your dad. Edited clarity. I actually read this thinking, I feel really sorry for Luke, but original poster is still not the asshole, and then I got to the edit, what the fuck was that? Right? Damn Luke, what an asshole. I'm sure that was the mother's way of grieving and moving on, but she didn't have to force it on original poster like that. Definitely not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your mom is living in fantasy land. Not the asshole. Your mom's dreams only control her own 2 weddings. They have zero to do with your wedding. Your wedding should be about your and your fiancé's dreams. I bet she also has a bunch of burdens planned for your future child, Ren, if you choose to have any. Be prepared for that to come. Oh yeah. I can totally see Mom and Luke calling him Grandpa, and then throwing a fit when original poster says no. Not the asshole. Not just the GP title. I was also thinking she has dreams of Luke doing all of the first father-child things with her grandchild. Oh yeah, the erasure of original poster's father will get worse. Not the asshole. You never called him dad or acted like he was your dad. He's not your dad. Instead of letting it be a time for you to reflect and grieve that your dad is not there on your big day, she is pretending he never existed. I wouldn't cave into this either. Not the asshole. The lack of self-reflection these type of people have is boggling. I doubt they'd be happy to be so easily replaced if they died. I know. Sometimes I feel like my mom is just broken. And because of that she's just lost all ability to be logical. But it's up to her to work through all that, if she can. I think we're all a bit broken in different ways, but some people see these cracks and fix them, others ignore them, and some stuff those cracks with unhealthy coping mechanisms and addictions. Not the asshole. Luke is not your father, you don't feel comfortable with calling him your dad. It's your wedding original poster, don't let them ruin your day. It's about you, not them. Not the asshole. It's not spiteful, just the facts. I'm not sure what parents can be so insistent that their new spouse fills a parent role in your life. They're not your parent, simply put. They're someone your mom liked, that's got nothing to do with you. No duty to accept him, as long as you're pleasant enough, I don't see the issue. I think this is more a mom's problem than your problem. Not the asshole. Your stepdad isn't entitled to be called your father. I don't think you should push him aside if he genuinely cares about you, but you definitely don't need to have him fill the void. I do not at all think he genuinely cares. If he genuinely cared, he would not ignore original poster's need for space to grieve her dead father, actively try to replace him, and cut up Father's Day cards original poster gave to her father and put them in a collage pretending they were for Luke. Last thing is in the edit in case you didn't read this with the edit. Not the asshole. What's so sad about these situations is that, if your mom and her husband had slowly and gently introduced him to your life, maybe you would have felt differently now. Not that he was a replacement, of course, never that, but maybe you would have grown close enough that you would want him to act in that role. Instead, they tried to force it, and alienated you instead. Please remove your mother and Luke as guest at your wedding. I can see them ruining your special day. Continue to limit your contact and live your life to the fullest. Not the asshole. She has a lot of dreams for it being your wedding.